This has to change. I am really sick and tired of the Israeli government, the Netanyahu government, taking American taxpayer dollars and then mistreating Americans.
Well, that's Senator Van Hollen, Democrat, and he's actually fighting back against Israel. I hope you're sitting. And he's trying to get an American back that they basically kidnapped. Will he have some success? Actually, he's done it once before. We'll tell you about that as well. But there are many times where the Israelis have greatly mistreated Americans where we have gotten no accountability at all. Which one is this case? Well, let's find out. Sharon, tell us more.
Yeah, Cenk, another US citizen detained by IDF forces in the West Bank for no reason. The only US politician brave enough to talk about is the aforementioned Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. So the entire situation started on Tuesday after 5 women, including 3 students studying at Birzeit University in the West Bank, were arrested without explanation, one of whom, 20-year-old American citizen named Sama Safi. Let's hear more from Senator Van Hollen, and then we will get into more of the finer details.
Just yesterday, 4 students, all women who attend Birzeit University in the West Bank, were seized by Israeli security forces. One of them, Sama, is an American citizen. Israeli security forces came to her home at 3 a.m. in the morning and just took her without explanation. She told them she was an American citizen. They didn't care. I talked to her mother, also an American citizen, shortly after all of this happened. She was absolutely distraught. She told me that her daughter has a medical condition that needs treatment. The Israeli government, the Netanyahu government, needs to tell everybody why they seized these students. And our ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, and Secretary of State Rubio, who always tell us that their #1 priority overseas is to protect American citizens, need to make sure that Sama is immediately released.
So the senator there, Sama, was one of 5 women, as we said, detained by Israeli forces this week. 3 of them current students at Birzeit University. 1 graduate of the institution. Among those arrested were 2 members of the Palestinian women's national football team, Natalie Abu-Dia, age 20, and Ran Halawani, 20. The other 2 were Julian Abu Awad and graduate Layla Nail Khalil. The raids came in the early hours of the morning, Tuesday, and according to Sama's father, we were surprised, even shocked. We never expected the raid to be for her arrest. When we asked why she was being arrested, the officer and the soldiers would only say, "You'll find out in court." IDF soldiers demanded the identity cards of Ahmed, his wife, their daughter, before informing Sama that they had an arrest warrant for her. The soldiers then ransacked Sama's room, confiscating her phone, laptop, personal belongings. They also seized photographs of her cousin, Birzeit Safi, who was killed by Israeli forces in 2024. Now, according to her family, Sama was then taken downstairs. She was handcuffed, she was blindfolded, placed inside a military vehicle. The reasoning for their arrest is unclear. The charges remain unknown. The only thing the IDF has said, according to the Times of Israel, is that the women were suspected of promoting terrorist activities and additional terrorism-related activities. That's it. As Senator Van Hollen noted in his video, Sama does have a medical condition called familial Mediterranean fever. It is a chronic inflammatory disease that requires medication. The quote, "We are extremely worried about her health. Without her medication, she suffers from high fevers, body aches, other debilitating symptoms. The disease causes an autoimmune attack, and if the medication is ignored, it will cause serious liver and kidney damage." Of course, no one in the Trump administration, nor anyone in mainstream media, is talking about Safi's detention. Only 2 senators have spoken about this. The first, obviously, being Senator Van Hollen. Earlier today, Senator Peter Welch posted this to Facebook. Sama Safi is a student at Birzeit University in the West Bank, who has chronic health condition, is the latest American citizen detained by IDF forces without explanation. Israeli authorities must ensure her safety and immediately provide her with access to her family, legal counsel, medication. Senator Van Hollen, Senator Welch were the ones leading the charge demanding accountability for Israel's detention and abuse of Mohammed Ibrahim, along with Representative Kathy Castor. Following their advocacy, Ibrahim was released in November of last year following a near 10-month detention. Sama's family has since learned she's being held at the Al-Maskubiya interrogation center in Jerusalem and has her first court date set for next Tuesday. If not for these two senators and want to post there the video, Jank, I don't know if we know where she was right now, if her family would.
Yeah, no, so the issue of this particular woman is obviously super important, especially because she's sick and she's an American citizen. But I think that the bigger issue is how the Israelis treat America overall. So we give them 3.8 billion, let alone the 21 billion under Biden, the 13 billion under Trump, with over 300 billion, et cetera. So when we ask, hey, why did you arrest our citizen? That should not be an optional question. No, I need that answer right now. And the United States, several United States senators are asking right now. They say, oh, you'll find out in court. If I was the president, I'd be like, no, I won't find out in court, because here's what's gonna happen. Every day that you don't give me the answer, I'm going to minus $100 million from your $3.8 billion. But hey, take your time. Or you know what? I'm a little annoyed with you because you never ever do anything we want. So I'll make it $100 million per hour. Take your time. But somehow the idea of threatening Israel's funding, which is the massive leverage we have to get them to do what we want, is unthinkable. Why is it unthinkable? No, arresting our citizen and not explaining it, that's unthinkable. But if you think that's bad, look, they had arrested Mohammed Ibrahim. He was a 15-year-old kid at the time he was arrested. He also got sick in their gulags, he got scabies. Sounds like a disease that pirates get, but Israel's brought it back. Okay, I'm kidding. That's a different disease, but the kid did get it. He lost a tremendous amount of weight, was super worried about his health. And again, no charges, no court date, no nothing in his case. And then when they pressed and pressed and pressed, finally the Israelis are like, he saw someone else, some other kid throwing a rock. So good enough, terrorist. No, not good enough, not terrorist. And the person we worked on it with Operation Hope. Our volunteers are amazing, but we were a very small part of it. Senator Van Hollen deserves a tremendous amount of credit. He got that American kid back, but we didn't get a lot of people back. 14 Americans have been killed by the Israelis in recent years, 13 of them since October 7th of 2023. Rachel Corrie was, of course, killed by an Israeli bulldozer earlier in 2003. Here, let me show you the folks who've been, the Americans killed by the Israelis. And that includes an American journalist, Shireen Abu Akleh. She's also Christian, not that that should matter. And here's the interesting part. Let's go to graphic 8. To date, nobody has been charged or held accountable for any of the deaths of US citizens at Israeli hands. That's from The Guardian. So wait, Israel, let's just talk about the 13 killed since 2023. Israel killed 13 Americans and didn't arrest a single person for it. Did Huckabee or any of our governments, did Biden, did anyone ask that these people be arrested? That nobody was even investigated, let alone charged, let alone arrested. So that means that Israelis can literally murder American citizens and we won't even ask for justice. That's so insane. Last one. Look, I give you a million, but Tom Alexandrovich, another case never covered by mainstream media. The murder of these American citizens, other than Shireen Abu Akleh, never covered by mainstream media. They think, oh yeah, that's normal. It's normal for our allies that we fund to murder our citizens and not be held accountable. No, that's not normal. That's super weird. Then Tom Alexandrovich is a national cybersecurity official for Israel. He was at a cybersecurity conference in Las Vegas, and he took that as an opportunity to do sexual tourism to rape American girls. He got caught luckily before the rape happened, arrested with other 8 Americans. Those 8 Americans are in prison. Alexandrovich on the first plane out to Israel. We got to get him out of the country. We got to protect him. He's a precious Israeli. So when they do crimes against us, there is zero accountability, whether it's in Israel or in America. So what the hell is this? What kind of an ally is this? All right, I'll start with you, Mark. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think even as you said, I mean, the reputational harm to Israel, as any number of institutions can reflect, is substantial. I mean, it's not just limited to this. It's Israeli policy in Gaza, it's Israeli policy West Bank, it's Israeli policy in cahoots now with the Americans in Iran. It just seems as though there are serious issues. This is apart from this American that has now been taken into custody. And so I guess what I'm getting at is, even if you take out everything Cenk's talking about, which is the funding and the leverage and this kind of thing, if you just concern yourself with the alliance, again, that supposedly exists between Israel and America, I just think that it's a harder and harder sell from the standpoint of sharing goals and protecting your allies. And so to this situation, I mean, clearly this is an activist, and any activism of this sort is punished most severely in Israel. And as far as getting the American back, it's just absolutely extraordinary to me. I mean, this is an exceptional situation from, as I say, an American ally, and then you add in the fact that this is an American ally that we basically support, and I'm dumbfounded by it. And I love that you made the example of the Biden administration as well, because I wasn't aware that. I hate the idea that the election doesn't matter. They're all the same party. You know, I think the election very much matters, and who's in power and who's mobbed up the government does matter. But it's worth noting in relation to this story that even the Biden administration couldn't get a foothold on getting an American free. So it really leaves me downcast. I mean, I think it's a deeply, deeply disturbing pattern.
So Sharon, we have a lot of weird situations here. So look, if it was an enemy, everybody gets it, right? Like if Russia had murdered 13 Americans, we might be on the brink of World War III, right? If the Chinese had done it, we'd be giving them a 200% tariff. But even an ally, like if Turkey had randomly murdered 13 Americans in 3 years, people would lose. If France did it, we'd like, why are the French murdering Americans? That's so strange. And why has no one been arrested? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And look, we have to be honest, there's a second angle here, which is, why does the American national media not care? That's really weird.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go, to show you how brave Senator Van Hollen is, the only one perhaps who will speak to camera about this. If you were to go into Google and just search, I don't know, Sama and CNN or MS Now or anything else, look at what comes up. Not a damn thing when it comes to mainstream media. You better be afraid, and that is precisely the point. They are letting you know, run your mouth, we can disappear you, and even your own country's not gonna back it up. They didn't account for one brave senator here, Van Hollen, right, and Welch, but the one who spoke to camera. Be afraid. I mean, it is chilling. When I put the search in, I looked all day, I had on the cables all day, just doing what I do. Nothing, because you know what? She does not matter. There is this threesome between Israel, the US, our politicians, and of course the mainstream media. And thank goodness, one guy decided, one elected official decided, I'm gonna speak to camera on this. It's stunning.
Yeah,
I'd say one other thing, Cenk, and that is that, U.S. senators are very powerful people, and this is an extremely powerful position. We're used to hearing from Rubio and hearing from the president, but a United States senator who can't get movement on this, that's another thing. It just leaves me breathless. It's shocking, and I'd be very surprised if this situation continues on the one hand, and then I would be completely unsurprised if it continues on the other.
Yeah, and let's just keep it real on one other aspect of it. So one of the 13 that were killed was a white Christian, and in that case, the Israeli government relieved someone of command, I believe. And whether they got their position back later is a different question. But there was a tiny bit of action there. No one was arrested for killing Jacob Flickinger. There was no consequences outside of that, but tiny bit of action there. The others are Muslim Americans. Basically, a second thing our government is saying is we're bigots and not all Americans are equal. So if you're Christian or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever, I don't know. I don't know if they've got it ranked. We might care about you, but if you're a Muslim American, you don't count. If you're killed, we're not going to care. And if that was true of any other religion, I would hope that everybody would be incredibly outraged by that. But since Muslims in this country have absolutely no power, our media ignores them, ignores their deaths, even when they're Americans. And by their omission, they're basically saying collectively, CNN, New York Times, all of them, we don't care about Muslim Americans. We don't care about them at all. You can kill them, and we don't think it's newsworthy. We don't think it's noteworthy that an ally has killed 12 of them in the last 3 years. That's super weird. At least Flickinger was covered because he was part of a bombing where they killed some people who were going there to deliver food to the starving Gazans. Last thing is, we do have a petition on Alexandrovich, and you could, we'll put the link down below. It's to extradite him and bring him back here to face justice. So I don't know if we're ever going to get justice, but Sama is lucky in that Senator Van Hollen is one of the best legislators in our entire country. He's absolutely heroic, and if I was in trouble, I'd want Van Hollen on my side. Peter Welch and everybody else chipping in. It's wonderful to see that there are actually real, politicians who represent us. That seems stunning that any of them exist, but they do. So we appreciate Van Hollen and Welch on that. And let's hope we get our American back, but we probably won't because it's Israel. And so it appears they are above the law. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.